Hello and welcome to another episode of Hair Bear Reads Reddit. And if you found my cozy little corner of the internet and you like a story or two, sit back and relax, have a listen, have a laugh, take your shoes off and set a spell. Today's subreddit is r/Idontworkherelady, because any of us who have ever worked in any kind of customer service has always dreamed of being able to tell off someone who richly deserves it without any consequences. Our first story is titled Uno Reverse, I Don't Work Here, posted by The Last Good Guy. Years ago, when Best Buy was king of physical media, I was browsing over the horror movie section when I chanced upon a BB employee talking to a suburban mom. The employee handed this woman DVDs off the shelf, but the mom looked confused and a bit apprehensive. The employee felt she had done her part and walked away, so I asked the mom if she wouldn't mind telling me what she was looking for. She said it was her 15-year-old daughter's birthday, and she wanted to watch scary movies with her friends, and her dad was planning to jump out and scare them during an opportune moment. The first movie on the stack was The Hills Have Eyes remake. The Best Buy employee was just handing her whatever, so I suggested that she might want to put that back, as it was a vicious movie and even had some graphic scenes. The rest ended up being just as bad, so we put them all back, and she walked out with The Ring and a few other jump-scare PG-13 horror films from the era. Still not sure what was going through that employee's head if she'd been given the same background as I got from the customer. Now that was a nice wholesome start. I like that. I probably won't set the tone exactly for the rest of them, but it's a good way to start out, and it reminds me of a story my brother told me once. Now, my younger brother is an avid gamer, and he was in GameStop once, and he saw a mother and her son shopping for video games, and he came up and handed her a game. And my brother happened to notice that it was Grand Theft Auto, which the boy looked way too young for. So he took it upon himself to walk over and tap her on the shoulder and say, "Ma'am, I don't know if you're aware of the ratings of these games, but I happen to know that game and that it's not suitable for young children." And he spent just a few minutes just going over the game ratings and what's suitable for children. Probably didn't make a friend of the boy that day, but the mother was appreciative at any rate, and he felt he did the right thing and actually got a job offer from GameStop. And strangely enough, the top comment on this is from PG Fish, which is almost an identically opposite situation, where PG Fish says, "Geez, reminds me of trying to talk a lady out of her quote-unquote cartoon purchase in a Blockbuster, mumble mumble, decades ago. Yes, ma'am, it is animated, but I don't think Akira is the best choice for your 3-year-old. I would have thought the Not for Kids sticker with a line drawing of an alarmed child's face would have been a big clue. I ultimately ran out of time and had to give up. She made a point to smirk at me as she slapped it down on the counter and paid her rental fee. I hope that kid's future therapy went okay." Like I said, I don't think the wholesome tone will continue throughout this episode. Our next Reddit story is posted from Seomar Cosplay. Don't come at me if I pronounce that wrong. And it's titled, I Finally Have a Post for This Sub. So this is pretty short, but it was funny to me, my coworkers, and our managers. I work for a company in a warehouse. We have private property signs everywhere. In the same general area as a trucking company, and there used to be a flooring company. The flooring company's building and signs are there, but they got evicted a while ago because of something unrelated but involving a baseball bat. Goodness. Rough part of town you work in, OP. My company doesn't have a uniform of any kind. However, they did provide us with bright orange shirts for visibility because of forklifts, with a company logo and name on the chest and back. I had walked into our back dock area, where our dumpsters are, to empty a trash can. Afterwards, a woman comes into the area and approached me. She was at this point trespassing. She started complaining that nobody was answering the door at the flooring company, and nobody was answering the phone. I told her I didn't work for the flooring company and couldn't answer any questions about them. She ignored that and started going into detail about what kind of carpet she ordered and continued asking questions about their services. Every time I tried to tell her I didn't work for the flooring company and couldn't help her, she talked over me and ignored me. After a few minutes of her rambling, this entire interaction was maybe 5 minutes long, I finally raised my voice to be heard over her and told her that I can't help her, she is trespassing on private property, and if she is here for the flooring company, she needs to go over to their building and bother them. She immediately snapped and started screaming at me about how rude I was, and how she would make sure they knew I was disrespectful to her and rude to her, and that she would be reporting me. During the rant, I walked away laughing and gave her a smile and a wave before entering my warehouse and letting several managers know what happened in case she came to any other door in the building. Don't know if she ever got anyone on the phone, but we saw her leave from the parking lot later. I really hope she tries to complain to the flooring company about me since she doesn't know my name, and I don't work for that company anyway, lol. There's a bit of a comment thread down below that I'm gonna read, and trigger warning if you don't like puns, skip ahead. It goes, "You mean to say," puts on sunglasses, "you were floored." In response to that, she had the rug pulled out from under her. One can only hope she eventually cottoned on to what OP was saying. You can't carpet over that burn. Oh, I apologize. I'll be in the corner if anyone needs me. And our last one is a bit of a longer story posted by Kelsey Lake, titled, "No, I Really Don't Work Here." This happened back in December last year, 2023, right after my late grandfather passed away. Kind of a long one. In mid-December, my final grandparent passed away. My condolences, OP. He was my mom's father. We were all very close and had him moved right down the street to be closer. It was a very painful loss. Me and my mother were the ones left to take care of everything as well. We needed to go out to the mall to buy outfits, accessories for family members. They had traveled from out of town and don't know the area and hadn't rented a vehicle. In my already depressed state and now having to run errands for these losers, I decide I don't care what other people have to see. Screw them, my heart is hurting. I throw on a pair of these giant baggy sweatpants of my husband's, bright green, so hideous, and a baggy, dirty anime tee that I had been wearing for the last 2 days. My hair, wonderfully greasy and unwashed, was thrown on the very top of my head in an Agatha Trunchbull-style bun. Very sexy. We set out onto the first store in the mall, a plus-size women's clothing store. I'm a plus-size girl, but my baggy clothes definitely added to how big I looked. I was walking around with clothes, and my mother went to the dressing room to set them all down. I grab one final black dress and head to the fitting room. As soon as I walk in, I look for the stall my mom went to. A woman is sitting in the waiting area portion of the dressing room. She looks up at me immediately and starts yelling at me about a red dress. I wasn't really listening, not my circus, not my monkeys. I knock on my mom's stall door and say, "Hey mom, let me in." And the woman starts again, but louder, and says, "Are you not capable of grabbing this red dress in a new size like I just asked you to?" This caught me completely off guard, so I just blankly stared at her while my hand is on the stall door. She cocks an eyebrow at me, and I guess the new expression on my face had her reassess her surroundings and situation. She stumbled over to the chair again and sat down and said, "Oh, do you not work here?" Now this lady has managed to really hit a button. I tell her, "Do I look like I effing work here? What about me looks like I work here? Because I'm fat? Is that why you assumed I'm an employee?" She stumbles over her words. She definitely didn't know what to say. I had already snapped. I spent the entire time I was changing talking crap about her to my mom. I could hear a little "sorry" every once in a while from outside, but I was over it. I left after finding what I needed from that store and flipped her off. I love the image of her just in there just talking smack about her the entire time and her hearing it and apologizing over and over. Oh, at least she didn't double down. That's good. But OP continues. I thought this would be my final "I don't work here" interaction given my situation. I was wrong. We moved on to another large chain department store to buy a bunch of assorted jewelry for family members to pick from. Me and my mom were cutting through the little girls' clothing section to avoid the busy Saturday aisle traffic. Out of nowhere, a woman grabs me by my arm. My mom stops with me after she sees me stopping. This old woman starts in on how these prices don't match what the sale sign says on the wall there. Again, I have this what the F face on, and I look over at my mother who's standing right next to me and I say, "Are you effing kidding me? What about my effing appearance today screams I work at the mall?" Which cues the woman in on the fact that I do indeed not work there. She scrambled off quickly with no apology. Was I harsh? Probably. Will I ever want to go to the mall again? Probably not. TLDR, I wore the grimiest clothes to the mall while shopping to be unbothered, was asked if I work at the store 2 different times. I need a break. Now there's no reason ever, whether someone's an employee or not, you do not have enough power over anyone to lay hands on them unless you are a law enforcement agent of some sort. If you're a customer, you don't get to put your hands on people, period. And I've never had a retail job. I have had customer service jobs, but if someone laid hands on me, it would be game over and I'd either lose my job or that person would be sent packing because that's that's not on. But there's 2 things about this story that I do like. The first is just how hard and fast OP hits them with the nope, leave me alone, don't work here, no nonsense, which if someone's going to be rude from the outset, you don't owe them any politeness whatsoever. So, well done there. The second thing I like, though, is probably because of OP's response to this, they didn't double down. They didn't decide that since they made a snap decision, they can't be wrong. And even the first one was constantly apologizing, which still tickles me. But has anything like this ever happened to you? Have you ever been the subject of a case of mistaken identity where someone is convinced you work somewhere you do not and is making demands of you have no responsibility to? If so, leave the story in the comments and tell us about it. And if you like this video, make sure to slap a paw on the like and subscribe button. And hopefully, we'll see you all in the next one. Until then, take care, be good, and bear up.